Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Glen's Retro Show. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to do a little pickup video of something I got recently. I've wanted for a long time, haven't really been able to find one in decent shape, but this time I have. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Bandai's Crazy Climber. The old classic arcade machines from the 1980s. I was fortunate enough to have grown up at a time where I saw them all, starting from Pong. I didn't see Computer Space. Actually, I might have, but it was definitely not when it was first released. But I think I actually did see Computer Space, but definitely saw Pong, and from there forth, all the other arcade machines that had come out. So many great games. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Mr. Do, Turbo, Galaga, Pole Position, just to name a few. And unfortunately, kids today will never really experience the same type of experience that we did with these arcade machines back then. They were new. Everyone went there in groups. You begged for a couple of quarters just to go to an arcade to play these games. And there were so many great games, and all had different control schemes. Some had joysticks, some had paddles, some had trackballs. They're all a little bit different. And they were so fun. You had Q*bert, which was a diagonal game. You had your regular games like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong Jr. and Frogger. You had trackball games. You had games with no controls other than buttons like Asteroids. You had games that had a joystick and a paddle like Tron. Then you had something that was kind of new. You had something like Robotron, where you actually had two joysticks. One joystick would control your person, and the other one would control where you fired. And that was kind of neat, having two joysticks for one person to control his one character, which was kind of neat. But it wasn't the only one to do so. There also was a game called Crazy Climber. And Crazy Climber was a really great game. Now, it may not have seen the same popularity as like Asteroids, Missile Command, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, or Robotron saw. But it definitely is a game that if you mention it, people go, oh yeah, I remember that game. And it was interesting. It had two joysticks, like Robotron, but each joystick was your arm. So you had to basically climb a building. And what's also interesting about Crazy Climber, it wasn't like a overly violent game, I guess. You didn't have someone getting shot. You can fall off a building, obviously, which is pretty painful. But the premise was just to climb a building. And people would try and stop you by dropping things on you. But it was a very fun little game. Go for it! Run out! So I've been on eBay, and I always check out, see if I find anything new. And I always like Crazy Climber. And one day I actually came across a bid. It wasn't too expensive. It was $50, and it wasn't cheap either. But to find a Crazy Climber in this kind of condition, I went for it, and I actually won the bid. So it's just rare to see the Crazy Climbers. I think only two were made in a VFD form, which is a vacuum fluorescent display. Bandai Electronics, which is the one I have here, and Entex also had made one, and some people believe that's a better version. I've seen that version, and I don't really think it's better per se. It's just a little bit different, but it's also much more rare. So if you ever come across either of these, definitely grab one. But if you see the Entex one, definitely grab it, because that's a lot more rare than the Bandai version here. And it's in pretty good shape. I didn't really have to clean it too much. So let's have a little bit look on some of the gameplay on this little unit.
Okay, let's have a look at the Bandai Crazy Climber in action. So we're going to hit the on switch here. And you can see that's just a little cellophane. It's not actually an LED of any kind, but it's got a really nice, crisp 3-row VFD display, which stands for Vacuum Fluorescent Display. And it was really used in the 70s and 80s for your wristwatches or clocks, or especially in VCRs of the era. And it really is a nice looking game. Now, there's another version of Crazy Climber made by Entex, and that one actually has 4 rows of the building. Some people say it's better. It's a lot more rare, I'll say that. It's harder to find. But in the gameplays that I've seen on both of these, I think I actually do prefer the Bandai Electronics one. I think it just looks nicer, in my opinion. But you can see here on the display, you have the windows, which you can only go into windows that are open, which are the ones that have no color in them. And then the ones with the green are windows that are closing, and they'll go 50% all the way down to being closed. You obviously your Crazy Climber gentleman, who is red, and at the top of the screen there'll be people and windows that drop pots on you, and it also has the bird that will drop bird droppings on you. So let's actually start the game and give it a try. Now again, you have your left arm up and down. You can't go down in the building, but when you go up, you pull back like on both to try and hold your position if a pot or a bird dropping tries to land on your head. Move your controls to left and right to move, and of course your hands up. So let's hit the start button. There's a pot coming down already. Oh. Well, one guy fell to his death. It's kind of hard doing it, holding it up in the air, but I can't get a good camera angle for you guys, so it's a little hard doing one-handed here. But I'm going to hold myself down in case someone tries to drop a pot. I can't go to the right or to the left because the windows are closed. And here comes a pot, I think, being dropped right now. Here it comes. And when it drops a pot on you, you lose one hand footing. And you have to re-get your footing real quick, and I didn't. And I saved from the bird dropping, but the pot dropped on my head, so that kind of killed me. Now, if you don't hold back on both of your arms like this, he'll knock you off the building. Or if you have one arm up and one down, you would get dropped off the building. You have to make sure both are being pulled down. To move your guy left and right, you move the joysticks left and right, and then you have to move your controller up. Now, what I noticed is, and I'm sure it's the same in the arcade game, you can't have like one arm up and one not all the way down. You actually have to have up and down 100%, up and down 100%, or the arms will not move. If you have one up and maybe just not down all the way, and vice versa, he'll just stand there. And there used to be a lot of frustration in the arcades, smashing the controls, trying to get it to work, because like a hand will get stuck. You know, it's pretty common in the arcade game. When you get a good rhythm going, you move pretty good, but once you screw up your rhythm, you're stuck. Oh, is the window closing? Oh, is the window closing? Now the bird's up top of the screen. He's dropping his poop. And I had my arms down. I shouldn't have fallen off on that one. He should have held on. Oop. 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 Pull up. One more. Oh, there we go. There's the bird again. I'm going to pull my arms back and hold on. Oh, that's why it was a pot afterwards. I think that's it. I think I'm dead. So it's fun. I mean, it's also just as frustrating as the arcade game when you're trying to move your controls and he's not going the way you want him to go. I'm going to try one more time and see if I can make it to the top of at least one building. Looks like we made it.
Okay, this Crazy Climber from Bandai Electronics was pretty clean when I got it, but I always like opening up to make sure there's no like bugs or anything else on the inside. So we're going to take a look at the guts of this little guy here. So we're going to open it up, and it's fairly easy. There are simply 6 screws located underneath 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 on the back. But what's funny is they actually use security screws. They didn't use a regular Phillips head like most games at the time had used. They actually were star bits, which again are not horribly hard to get and open up. But I was just surprised that they actually sprung for that, because those are usually more expensive than standard Phillips head screws. But in any case, once you remove these screws, you can see the screw holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The cover simply lifts off. There's no little security tabs or anything you have to do to get in. And the inside is pretty much as clean as the outside was. It's really impressive that, as all this game is, that there's nothing really dirty or dusty. There was like a smidgen of dust on here, which I cleaned off no problem, but everything here looks really, really good. You can see you have the 2 separate joysticks. The on-off button and the reset button are simply held in place by the cover, and the same with the joysticks. Now what's kind of interesting is, you'll see in a minute, there's only 3 pads for here, for up, down, right, up, down, and left. There's no pad here for the inside moving. It's just a stopper. So when you pull both joysticks this way or this way to move, only one controller is actually doing it. So I thought that was kind of weird. I guess once it knows both arms are on the same level and you move left to right, it'll simply move in that direction. The arcade machine actually had all 4 directions on the joysticks. So you can see here's the top cover. Here are the notches for your power button, so it locks in place for on and off. Your start buttons here, your 2 joystick ports, and again you can see I didn't clean this. This came this way. Whoever kept it in really good shape. There's very few marks or dirt or anything on the inside. Again, just another shot. I did put a little bit of my Novus cleaner on here just to give it a nice shine. But other than that, I really didn't do anything. Everything was pretty clean. Here's just a closer shot of the VFD display. You can see the typical little spot where they pulled out the air over here in the glass. All the control mechanisms here for the electronics. And you can see here all the different images of everything here. You have your score, you have the bird droppings. You gotta have those bird droppings that go all the way down. The people who want to drop the pots on your head and the pots. And then of course all the windows that can close up on you. You can see there's 2 positions for it. It's either totally open, midway, and closed. And then of course your climber himself has his arms in the up, down position, and himself. And then your 3 guys who met their fate, which is a shame for him. But very, very nice. It's very clean, simple design. And here's a closer shot of the controller now. And I removed the 2 joysticks. You can see the notches that were taken out, that are being held in by the this area right here, which just keeps it from turning, I guess. I don't really know why you needed to do that, but that's what they did. You have your down, right, down, left, left, right, up, and up. And that's it. So it's just 3 pads each. And then they have these springs and poles, and there's a little ball bearing on the bottom. I thought was a little weird as well. Maybe it's supposed to make it flow better. I have a shot of that, I think, in next 2 or 3 pictures. And just another shot again of everything out with the controllers. Everything's all, you can see everything's pretty clean. That's pretty impressive that it was. Just a shot of the VFD itself lit up with it open. My camera doesn't always focus too well, so I apologize for that. One of these days I'll get a decent camera. So you can see here I took one of the joysticks out. It's got a little spring that just helps with its centering, and here's the shaft. They actually put little ball bearings on the bottom here, I guess to make it feel smoother. I mean, they do feel fine. I just thought that was weird that they went through that level. I guess it was really to maybe help with the wear. That's probably what more than anything on the plastic. With all the motions up, down, up, down, up, down you have to do with these joysticks to climb. The metal ball bearing is probably here just to prevent the plastic here and at the bottom of the shaft here to be worn too bad. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this edition of Glen's Retro Show and a little insight on the Bandai Electronics Crazy Climber game. I really enjoy it. I'm glad I was able to pick one up, and especially in this condition. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, everyone, remember, game on.